my name is Rachel, and today we're going to talk about what makes people trust or not trust, rather, a book reviewer, and how this leads to them choosing to or not choosing to buying a book. I'm making this for, everybody can, I think, benefit from learning about this. It's just an interesting topic, and I think authors will probably benefit from this so that they can learn like how readers are actually choosing their next book using reviews. Recently, I did a video explaining what actually sells books versus what doesn't. That's linked below. I polled thousands of readers to get the answers. I polled for this as well, and I'm going to tell you how informed consumership works and how incredibly subjective it is, how it works when it comes to book buying. Hopefully this dispels some of the myths that a lot of authors believe, and then they use those myths to try to make decisions about how to market, and then it doesn't go well. I'd like to help you find your audience, so I hope this helps. Consumers gave a lot of feedback, so this is a really great opportunity, I think, to use that feedback to maybe make some changes that could help you to find your readers. Alright, so what doesn't work to sell books, according to that video, just to recap, were things like authors, other authors blurbing your book, bestseller titles like New York Times bestseller titles, and awards. Readers don't usually care about those things. That doesn't help them inform their purchasing. That doesn't tell them like the info that they need in order to make a purchasing decision. What does work when it comes to what gets readers to buy books is cover, synopsis, and word of mouth. So you need a cover that captures their attention, a well-written synopsis, and word of mouth from someone they trust is highly likely to get them to buy a book. We're going to focus on that last part today. I asked on TikTok and on Instagram, what makes you, a book consumer, lose trust in a reviewer? This is a really interesting topic because we don't often discuss trends, I think, in the book community, in how we as individuals go about informing ourselves in order to make or not make a purchase. Every individual has things that they look for to help them decide if a book is right for them or not, on a very subjective level. And there is no wrong answer here, because this is about you. It is not you prescribing this onto other people, like here's how reviews should work. Instead, it's here's what reviews do that help me as a consumer, not here's what I think reviews should be for everybody. This is entirely personal and not prescriptive. You are allowed to decide how to spend your money. You alone know how to gather the information that works solely for you to make that purchasing decision. And you should have access to all of the information, a wide variety of reviews and ways to access information in order to find the info that helps you inform your own decisions. All reviews are valid, except I say that with a caveat of if somebody is spreading like harmful rhetoric in their review, like they're racist or sexist, or they're being anti-Semitic, or they're sharing purity culture or Islamophobia, those things perpetuate real life harm onto already marginalized communities. So those reviews, yeah, I think they're shitty. So obviously some reviews are shit because they're informed by bigotry, and other reviewers are not going to find that helpful at all. They're going to find it hurtful. Other than that, reviews are valid, and a tapestry of reviews is needed. Every review, be it one line or 6 paragraphs on Goodreads with like 8 different Jerry Seinfeld gifs, all of these count for something, even if it doesn't count for you in particular. Somebody is probably helped by that. So each book has an audience, but each reviewer does too. So a review you might find helpful, another person might find unhelpful. A review you find unhelpful might be the exact review that another person is looking for to help them inform their decisions for purchasing. And you can decide what's helpful for you. But you cannot decide what's helpful for everyone. I got into it with an author who apparently is a very popular author's sister-in-law. There's a major difference between you finding something personally unhelpful and in your request to purchase something for yourself and advocating for only making a very specific kind of reviewing the way to review, and invalidating anything that doesn't fit your criteria is just shitty, because then you are advocating for something that's going to make it so that the people who do find help in those reviews cannot access them if you got your way. And of course, as an author, the criteria she was advocating for solely benefited her and not the wide range of consumers that exists. Advocating for not doing negative reviews at all, advocating for doing away with the star system, advocating for being ageist about teenagers reviewing books, and saying we should only review art by big name artists. All of this actually being implemented would mean creating a review space where a lot of reviewers, where a lot of consumers are suddenly not able to find the very particular information they find helpful. And she said, well, it is more helpful. To whom? How did you possibly come to that conclusion when I am sitting here telling you, a consumer, that does not help me? Certainly doesn't help all the people who responded in my comments here that I'm going to show you in a minute, saying how they personally use info to make purchasing decisions. It's certainly not going to help them, because a lot of us do listen to people of all ages. A lot of us do like the star system. You aren't going to be the author for everybody, and consumers have a right to not only decide that for themselves, but decide it before they give you their money. And how they do that is by checking out reviews. Now, there is a component here of typically we go to reviewers that we have already established trust in, and that builds over time. And that might even mean that you trust them to be honest about a book that they hated, and you might end up buying it because you like what they hate. And that's why honesty is so important. God, I feel like I say this constantly. So saying things like, in general, I think if you didn't like a piece of art, just don't talk about it unless it's by someone with a huge name. I think if you don't like art, the most powerful thing you can do is not talk about it. By talking about art, we platform for it. And if you don't like it, it's better to not pay attention to it. For whom? Certainly not for consumers. And the consumers who have established trust with reviewers talked about this, and I will give you the answers that I got. These are the ones I got on TikTok, and then I'll do Instagram. You can feel free to leave yours down below. I completely forgot to ask this on my YouTube community tab, so just consider the comments below the community tab and you can give all the feedback you'd like there. And here's the responses that I got. Same for me. If I only ever hear positive things for everything they read, I'm just not interested in anything they have to say. Same for readers who only read to talk bad about it. I don't understand how someone can read books to intentionally find the bad in them. Someone else. Inconsistency in their apparent values. I'm just going to say names because it's easier if I just do that. D.I. Quinn. When it's clear the reviewer doesn't read the genre of whatever book the review is for. Now, here's the thing. Because this is so subjective, right? I'm going to disagree. Not disagree, but I am not going to find the same things helpful as the people in here. And none of them are wrong. Because there is no wrong answer to how you personally choose what reviews you trust and don't trust. You are welcome to have trust or not trust in anybody you want. And you're also welcome to buy or not buy any book you want. So personally, I don't mind taking feedback from reviewers who read a new genre, because typically I follow like the same group of people and I already have like established trust in them. So if they try a new genre, I'm good. Like I'm okay with that. But this person feels different, and that's totally fine, because all that's doing is helping them choose what they're purchasing, and that's their right. Nobody's wrong here. Like, I want to stress how different it is between the subjective and the prescriptive. Sean says, I'm another one who writes off people positively reviewing grossly problematic books or proudly displaying them in the background. And here's the thing, they have a right to. You are not going to be the reviewer for everybody. I am not the reviewer for everybody, and I am not owed viewers. So if somebody has a problem with a book in the background, it's their right to click off and not trust me. I'm not owed other people's trust. Radical Robins will always unfollow and block anyone who recommends Coho and SJ Trash positively. As Nicole, I like reviews that have details as to why they like the book, not just the typical I'm obsessed comment. Again, this is prescriptive or this is subjective and not prescriptive. I think it is your right if you want to write a review that says I'm obsessed. It really depends on who it is, on whether or not that's going to help me inform my purchasing decision. I think you have full rights to write that, but there's a difference between like random person I've never seen before on Goodreads saying I'm obsessed and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes saying I'm obsessed, because I trust Sam and our tastes already align. And also, if one of the people whose tastes I don't align with say I'm obsessed, I'm probably gonna say, oh, it's not the book for me then, because we have totally different tastes. Here somebody says that they love in-depth reviews and honestly wish there were more people who did them instead of the clickbaity videos. Now, this is not really about me because I do in-depth reviews, but here's the thing. A lot of people do write off my channel because I do use clickbait thumbnails. And I've talked about why I have to use clickbait in a thumbnail, in a video, which I'll leave below. However, I do have to, and it is hard for me to accept this when like I'm scrolling Twitter and I see people randomly pop up talking shit about me who don't watch my stuff, but that is something that I have to accept as like a person existing publicly on the internet. Like I have to learn not to take that so personally. They have every right to be like, well, that's not helpful to me, because that's sort of the price I pay for using clickbait, is that some people are immediately going to write me off, and that's their right. Like I am not owed their viewership, and they have the right to inform their own purchases using whatever works for them. And if I'm not what works for them, then I have to accept that. Reviews that I can tell are only posted to please the author, even if they're 5-star and posted before the published date. April says, if they say writing was YA to mean they thought the writing was bad, YA doesn't mean bad writing. There are incredible YA authors. Yeah, I agree. I think that there are, we're probably gonna have to do a separate video on that. I think I've used that in the past, and I don't think I meant it exactly like that, but yeah, that is a problem that we do need to address. So I can understand like not feeling like you can trust a reviewer when they say something like that, because YA books encompasses a massive amount of books with a huge amount of variety, and it doesn't really actually tell you what you're talking about when you say it's YA. What does that mean? Are the characters acting age appropriate? Okay, then why do you have a problem with that? Or is the writing sort of out of touch with what's happening like theme wise? People just like to shit on teenagers, so yeah, it doesn't really tell me anything when you say it reads like YA. When people don't mention they're an ARC reader. Okay, so this is something that I always forget to do on Goodreads. I hardly remember to do that, and I've been talking about ARC so much lately that the next time I actually review an ARC, I really need to remember to do that. And I'm going to talk more about this in a video I'm doing about ARCs, but yeah, so this is the thing, is that indie authors have been asking people not to disclose that, and that's fucking weird. Dee Dee, hi Dee Dee. Dee Dee says, while I only review books I like because I work in publishing and have author pals, it doesn't mean I give favorable reviews to books I don't like. Now, as to what makes me not trust a reviewer, any talk about a book being too political. Oh, hard same. If you don't think reading is political, I don't trust you. You can feel that way, but I don't have to feel like you are a source of information that helps me inform my purchases. How many times have I said informed purchases? Is it like 16 now? Even I'm getting sick of it. Jessica said, I don't trust reviewers who don't give 1 or 2 stars. I need to know if we hate the same thing. Same, which is why I said I follow the people who rate my favorites 1 star, because their next 1 star is my next 5 star. Those are some of the most helpful people on Goodreads. I don't say who they are, but I hope you know how many books I've bought because of you. In a serious way, reviews that negatively review because of bigotry or are clearly evangelical, 1 star for being open door, sex explicit, are red star for me. In a less serious note, if you 5-star light lark, your reviews aren't for me. We clearly have way too different tastes. That's fair. Yeah, a lot of people brought up like the evangelical side of this, where they're like, I can't trust Christians, certain Christians, to review books because we just have completely different lenses by which we view things, and your lens is not my lens, and therefore your reviews are not helpful to me, which that makes sense to me. I'm probably not the reviewer for a staunch fundamentalist Christian. I'm not going to be helpful to them in any way, and that's okay. They are allowed to purchase whatever and make those choices on their own too. Kaylee says, I don't trust a reviewer if every review is positive. I also don't trust people that never give books 5-star reviews. Anytime a video starts with something like, I read 200 books this year and only 3 were 5-star, those are an immediate scroll for me. Wow, 200 books, that's a massive amount of books. I don't read 200 books a year. I don't know how people are reading 200 books a year. I know that some of my mutuals are. Sorry, sidetracked. So yeah, I feel the same about the first thing. I've never experienced the second thing, but I can understand why that would feel like, all right, well, I don't really align, so therefore I don't feel like you're going to be very helpful for me. That makes sense to me. Again, there's really no wrong answers. Sapphic Nerd says, when their review is them mad at the book, that the book had key elements key to the genre, or if they make any mention to the politics characters being unrelatable. And they said, I'm using what I look for in bad reviews that make me not trust them because that's what I look at when deciding a book. Exactly. That's what this whole thing is about. It's really about you and how you, I'm not going to say the words again. It's how you gather information. Fuck, I can't even use a synonym. Key to the genre, meaning I hated this rom-com because there was romance in it. So a couple people bring up something similar to this, that this makes them lose trust in reviewers. I've never come across this, but yeah, I can see how that would be frustrating. Anyone who says reading is not political, I unfollow so fast these days. That's fair. Same. It takes a lot of privilege to not get political. That's true. Also, if that reviewer is on an ARC team of an author and every book is 5 stars, no notes, you've lost me. Same. If they care about the author's feelings to the exclusion of the best interests of the reader, why bother? I also think you learn if your tastes match. There are booktubers I watch because they're entertaining, but their tastes are too different from my own. Same. I watch a lot of people who have very different tastes from my own. And a lot of people watch me to just be entertained, and like that's okay too. There was a lot of talk in that author I mentioned earlier who I got into it with. They were complaining that reviewing has become a source of content, and I'm like, it's okay for people to just be entertained by reviews and not actually make them into something that they inform their purchases from. Like it's okay to just be entertained by reviews. Like it's really not all that different from watching something like MasterChef, where you are watching to like see how Gordon Ramsay is going to react to eating this food that you're never going to eat yourself. Also, a lot of people, shout out to all the artists who watch me just to have background noise, and the crochet people, and the person who told me that they use me to get their dishes done. My question is, when are you going to come do my dishes? I usually see if they reviewed some specific books, either problematic ones or books I personally don't like, and decide based on what they say about said books. Yes, same. I go to my favorite books and I find 1 stars, in-depth 1-star reviews of my favorite books, and then I follow those people to see what other books they've rated 1 star to tell me what my next 5 stars gonna be. And I can trust those people because they're being blatantly honest, which I super appreciate. Like, I am genuinely glad they hated my favorite book. Oh hey Thor, I lose all respect when they read BIPOC books and give them suspicious ratings that are always 3-ish stars and give excuses as to why they didn't enjoy them, but will give white books 4 and 5 stars and be like, oh my god, this was so good. Yeah, I think on BookTube we've had this conversation for a long time. Like before I even knew that Book Talk was a thing, I felt like we were having that conversation a lot, and I think it's an ongoing problem, and it has caused me, there are like entire sections of BookTube that I have stopped listening to altogether because I'm like, I really don't trust you. I don't trust you, and I'm not entertained, so I'm not gonna watch anymore. Like, no shade, you do you, and I'm happy for you, but I'm not entertained and I'm not informed, so I don't really feel like what's the point for me, you know? But their audience is welcome to feel differently, and I'm happy their audience exists. Kate says, when they only give 4 and 5 stars, when their reviews don't contain any nuance, when they don't name own potential internal biases, when they never say anything bad about a book, or when our ratings are drastically different. Yeah, that makes total sense. Jackie says, I'm an author but also a reader who will peruse reviews as I'm reading. I discount reviews that are mean or judgmental, especially to marginalized authors. I really dislike when readers, especially when they share the identity of the author, basically state that the rep is bad or wrong. Maddie has been mentioning recently the term bad rep, and I'm trying to like take it out of my lexicon. Is that the word? Because I think that you're both right in that that's not a great way to frame that stuff. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Jenny says, I am with you 100% on the whole positive reviews only, or don't hurt the author's feelings. Frankly, some authors need their feelings hurt. Jenny, no. I mean, personally, my intention is not to hurt authors' feelings. I wish that their editor would not so much hurt their feelings, but be a little bit more honest with them, even if it hurts a little. Agreeing to positively review any arcs they receive, or they are more concerned with keeping a large following than they are with ethically reviewing. Yeah, I feel that there are a few people that I have stopped watching on Book Talk because of them prioritizing like authors' feelings, and most of their stuff has just been like getting PR boxes from publishers, and I'm like, that doesn't really help me. Good for you, but it's just not helping me. Oh yeah, and when they do like a Goodreads review and you see they originally did 5 stars when the book was announced, and then they come back, oh yeah, no, I write that off too as unhelpful. It doesn't help me if you're just a fan. I need to actually know like what's in the book in order to know if it's worth my time personally. I mean, keep doing it if that works for you, but it's just not going to be helpful to me. And it doesn't have to be. Again, this is probably a personal thing, but when I see someone sharing a book author commonly known to be problematic, yeah, so like if somebody's sharing who's problematic, Jay Kristoff, I do often wonder like, did you miss what happened? What happened? Did you miss it? Do you just not know, or do you just not care? And they can continue posting whatever they want, but yeah, you are inevitably going to lose trust in other people if you're doing something shady. Like that's just the name of the game. If they are reviewing books they DNF'd, why are you reviewing a book you didn't read? That's not fair to the author or readers. Kate says says, for me, it depends on how far how far into the book they DNF'd. I would not necessarily agree with the top comment. That's not fair to the author or readers. I think that every review, even if it's a DNF review, is not necessarily unfair. If you are DNFing, I think that you should, for transparency, say, I DNF'd at such and such percent, and here are my honest feelings up to that point. I don't see a problem with that. You are reviewing the part of I don't personally really do that because I'm a completionist for no other reason than I am a completionist, but I think that that's fine as long as you're being transparent about exactly how much of the book you read. It's them giving an honest opinion. Just because something is unhelpful to you does not necessarily make it unfair to you. And sure, that doesn't help me if they only read 20% of the book, unless they're like 20% in, there is a graphic miscarriage scene. Then I'm very glad that they said something. So it really depends. I just do think they need to be transparent about how much they read. Anyone who includes GIFs I don't know why everybody hates the GIFs on Goodreads. I don't really have an opinion either way. I don't use them, but I don't even know how to do that. Isn't that funny? I feel so out of touch. And then Kate says, see, I love a good GIF, and that's why it's important to have many reviewers. Exactly. Exactly. We need so many opinions. We need so many so that each and every one of us has somebody who helps us find the right book. I love GIFs. I instantly know those reviewers put their soul in their review. They really do, because again, I don't even know how to do that. Sam, GIFs are the only way I can express my emotions. Gina! Eucalyptus says, if a reviewer fails to differentiate between personal taste and quality of writing, execution, and or pretends to be 100% objective in their reviews. And Catherine, oh hey Catherine, says, this is a good one. As much as I love a good book bashing, there's a reason I follow Rachel. You're going to have to tell me your reasons. Eucalyptus says, we all have biases. If they can't acknowledge any of theirs, it's going to be too much effort to sift through their reviews or where theirs are. That makes sense. If that isn't helpful to you, then that's fair. I don't know that I feel like reviews, personally, this is just and I don't have like strong feelings about this, but I just assumed that we all sort of felt like reviews were subjective and not really objective. Like, even those people who are advocating for like highbrow literary critique, I still feel like a lot of that is still subjective. There are lines in books that I think are objectively bad, like she ran like she was running from something in Lightlark is, I believe, objectively bad, but I still think that my overall review of that is subjective, and the proof of that is that I get people in my comments all the time saying I loved this book. So I'm not sure if it's that, like, you're saying that you want everybody to be like, this is just my opinion every single time, which I think all of us on BookTube in particular have gotten sick of having to do that disclaimer, because I assume it's just implied. I don't know. Share your thoughts, I guess. I agree. I don't trust anyone that doesn't give bad reviews. I feel like they are lying about books. Yeah, I've stopped. There are so many people I've stopped trusting. And then somebody said the thing that I always feel really sad to hear about. I'm scared to talk about the books I don't like, which is why I have so few reviews but talk about reading so much. Abby said, I hate that you feel scared to talk about them, but I understand some people get weird and intense when you don't like a book they do. They said, I got bold and dumped on Dr. Sleep, and that did not go well, as if Stephen King needs white knights. This is part of the problem, is that when we create a space in which all reviews are not seen as valid and only some are seen as valid, and we're told like to review a very particular way, and we make it so that people are afraid to be honest about their opinions or just be themselves, like wholly themselves in their review, we are making it so that like honest opinions are not reaching the consumers who can be informed by them. When they have a lot of problematic authors in the background or have no diverse reads, someone answered, this is my most efficient method to, once I see the box set of SJM books, I scroll immediately. Ruthless. I mean, I get it, but yeah. Generally avoid reviewers who put romance spice on a pedestal for fantasy book. I haven't seen that, but yeah, I can understand if that's not like what you are looking most for in your books, then yeah, you're not going to feel like that's very helpful to you. When the review isn't specific, as in like pros and cons of the book, when it doesn't give general knowledge of what kind of book it is. That last part is me. I always forget to say the genre. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really like specificity in reviews. And again, you can review however you want. I get frustrated when I go to look for a book and it doesn't have a ton of reviews and all the reviews are very vague, and I read something and I'm like, damn, I feel like I could copy paste that and put that under any book because it's so non-specific. So I find that really, really unhelpful, and I get frustrated if I'm, again, looking for a book that already doesn't have a lot of information about it. That's been happening to me a lot with looking for middle grade books for my niece for Christmas, which I buy her them both like a ton of books every Christmas. And I've noticed that it's very hard for me to find middle grade reviewers in general outside of Ashley from Bookish Realm and sometimes Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany, and then Maddie sometimes reviews middle grade. It's very difficult for me to find them, and I need them to be specific when I'm purchasing for my nieces because their parents are still Christian, and I know that they're gonna get uncomfortable with certain, and of course I don't agree with them, but I'm not gonna get my nieces in trouble. So I do need the reviews to be specific so that I can find the information, so that I don't put my nieces in a position where, or me in a position where like I'm buying these books and they, you know, eventually say like, you bought a gay book, you can't buy our kids books anymore. So I do need those reviews to be specific when I'm buying for my nieces, and it's very frustratingly annoying when I'm looking at reviews of middle grade books. Anyone that only gives 5-star or too many, if I feel like they aren't engaging critically with the things they read, I want intelligent explanations. Yeah, I really appreciated Babel is a good explanation, a good good example of this, where the reviews around Babel, before I read it, I really wanted to get an idea of what I was getting into, and after I read it, it was after I read it that I finally got the reviews come in that I had been looking for, and I gave it 5, but some of my friends gave it 3, and the reasons they gave it 3 were so valid, led to such good conversation. And of course this isn't like me informing my purchasing decisions, but it did like inform my ideas and my understanding of things like imperialism, and that's only because the reviews got hyper specific about what was going on, whereas before then there were some people who reviewed Babel in a way that I felt was shitty. Consistently not articulating specific things they like or dislike about a book. I want to know why it's a 1 or 5-star. I have no comparison to my taste. Makes sense. I don't trust spice levels for people who never went down the fanfiction AO3 rabbit hole when they were too young to be doing so. If they only ever read for fun, meaning they turn off their brain while reading, sometimes it's okay, but all the time, no. Because they will likely read problematic authors, mostly white books, not really want anything that might challenge their own beliefs or thoughts. That's fair. If the majority of their reviews are positive, especially when you can tell it's paid book promo and there's no constructive criticism whether the review is positive or negative. And at that point, like, why are they even promoting it that way? Like, why don't they just get promo boxes and say what the book is about and be done with it? Like, I mean, you can do what you want, but like, I'm not gonna keep tuning in because they don't really trust you if you're not giving me actual like information that leads to me like feeling like I can again trust you. I don't follow specific reviewers across books. I just look at the latest or most popular reviews. I don't personally notice the names as influencers. Fair enough, not everybody does. There's one Goodreads reviewer who rates everything 4 to 5 stars and uses lots of excited caps in her reviews and just seems to love everything. I mean, good for her. I'm glad she's having fun, but yeah, it makes it hard to trust because I see her everywhere and the books are so varied. And if you loved all of them that much, it feels sus to me and I don't know why. And that's fine. Like, you're allowed to feel that way. Like, because again, you're not telling her what to do. You're telling her that what she's doing doesn't work for you. That's fine. Because it probably works for somebody else and that's fine too. ARC reviews whose 5-star reviews are just a copy and paste of the summary. Instantly if I see this, I not only write off that reviewer, I put that author's name on a list and I never ever promote for them, and often I block them. If you are trying to cultivate a Goodreads page of your book that is like so carefully like done to look a certain way in order to reel in potential buyers like we're fish and not people, instant no from me. When there's one very high review and a bunch of mid reviews and the high one is an ARC or has a lot of emojis, gifs, I love how everybody's like, no gifts! People who give 4 or 5 stars to the people they get PR from. Yeah, that makes sense. I hope they're genuinely just working with people who like know that their book will be that reviewer's taste and it works out for them, but I can understand like if it's happening every time that they like, there's no 2 stars here, there's no 1s, you magically get connected with an author every single time and you love their book, that's suspicious. When they promote books and give them really positive reviews, come to find out they're friends with the author, instant no from me too. I'm looking for reviews from reviewers who have expertise in the genre I'm interested in reading. See, I don't do that. I can understand why you do it. I don't personally do that. I'm just like, what did my friends say? Oh, okay. Reviewers who don't engage with problematic themes of books, either by not understanding or not wanting to offend fans, you have to talk about it. I agree. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, sometimes if you miss it, sure, but like if it's brought to your attention, you should bring up like, hey, I missed this in my reading. Sorry about that. Reviews that lean too heavily into use of buzzwords are a turn off. I can't think of any examples of this, but makes sense, sure. If I see it's a positive ARC review, I scroll right past, or if they love everything they read without an ounce of critique or sponsored ads. Fair enough. If a 5-star review starts with a total breakdown of the book, I automatically do not trust it. I don't know, that kind of sounds like something I'd be into. I mean, that's fine. I think we just disagree, which that's totally fine. fine. Oh, Emma. If someone rates everything 4 or 5 stars, I don't lean on their reviews because I don't trust that they're able to be critical about things, which maybe isn't true. Maybe they're just great at picking books, but I need to be able to see examples of critiques to know if I vibe with reviews. This is actually why I trust Emma's reviews in particular. Hi, Emma, if you're watching this, because I feel like her critiques are very fair. Our tastes typically align. In our like ideals and morals, we typically align. We both get very frustrated by like misogynistic men when it comes to like the Brandon Sanderson guys. Emma is a really good example, since she's popped up. Emma's a really good example of somebody that I have like built trust upon, and now when I see Emma's reviews, I'm automatically more likely to listen because that trust has been built and our tastes align. When they don't say anything about the actual writing, it's a book, I want to know about the prose. Also, if they almost exclusively rate books 5 stars. Yeah, I've noticed that even I don't often say enough about prose itself, and I'm trying to get better about that when I actually write out reviews. I do find that very helpful, especially if they give very specific examples. When someone is just gushing about how much they love it without solid examples or only hitting the high points, it always gives undisclosed ad. Yeah, I think that goes back to like what I just read. I agree. I think that like giving examples, particularly like when it comes to writing, like if the writing is poor, can you give an example of why? That's going to help me more. If a reviewer has been hypocritical, like obviously every book is individual, but sometimes you can tell they just have that opinion to either please or annoy. Yeah, that's fair. Complaints about the trigger warnings, but either ignored them or flat out didn't read them. So I have never come across this, but I've noticed a lot of people in the dark romance community have talked about this, where people will complain about things that are in the book, but then they did not check the trigger warnings, even though the trigger warnings are at the beginning of the book. Now, if the author did not provide them, big yikes, you should be. But yeah, I can understand that being really frustrating if you are trying to like learn about a review and then the review is just saying, I didn't read the trigger warnings and then I got upset by the content that I could have informed myself about. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me at all, does it? I disregard reviews that complain on Audible about the narrator needing to cough or something like humans do. Like, hello, it's not an AI, it's a human being. Oh, I feel so conflicted about this because on the one hand, yeah, for sure. On the other hand, I did pay for like $25 for an audio production of something. So like, and then on the other hand, it's not the author's fault. But on the other hand, I'm also reviewing to help other readers decide if they want to read the audio or not. So like in my review of Neon Gods, for instance, I bring up how I don't think the narrator is very good. Same with Fourth Wing. But then I encourage people, like with Neon Gods in particular, just read the ebook or the physical if you don't want to experience what I experienced. Reviewers who don't give trigger warnings or diversity lists even when asked. What? People are being asked and not doing it? How weird. This is another thing that I need to start remembering to do more often because I'm very bad at remembering to do that. I want to do like very in-depth reviews and then I forget like basic stuff like that and then I feel terrible about it. I don't trust reviews if the person puts something like too much spice, too gay, too gay. It's too gay for me in here. If someone's reviews are not predominantly of queer books or media, if your top 5 books are all cis, hetero, and white people focused, not gonna gel. That's fair. That makes sense to me. They rate books by POC super low. Oh, this is like what Thor said earlier, or can't relate because the characters aren't white. Yeah, that's instantly going to make me not trust you at all. I don't do toxic positivity reviewers, non-political white reviewers, reviewers that love authors like SJM, defend misogynists, homophobes, racists, etc. Yeah, I agree. Anything, I'm not gonna find it helpful. If I see you defending something that in real life, especially either harms me or harms somebody else, I'm like, okay, well, I'm so glad that you can separate it from fiction, but I'm not gonna be able to do that. So carry on, but I'm discarding what you said as unhelpful. I don't trust them if they only read one genre. When they try to read another, they usually hate it and can't give constructive criticism on it. I wonder if anybody feels that way about me, although I feel like I read pretty broadly. I'm not sure. Let me know if you find me unhelpful in that way. Genuinely, that probably came off sarcastic. I mean that genuinely. I am trying to be helpful. Reviewers who negatively review then make 6 other posts harping on the fact that it's so bad. If you have no new point, be done with it. Oh, that's me. Sorry. I assume they're not talking about me in particular, but I definitely do that. If something is really bad, I need to get it off my chest. I have to get it off my chest. But then again, if something is really good, I probably gush about it multiple times. But then again, they don't find that helpful, and that is perfectly fine. Like, they are able to find helpful or not find helpful anything that they would like. I'm not in charge of their purchasing. Promoting with tropes, and if they got paid constantly and never provide a plot synopsis, I'm giving side eye. Oh my gosh, if you don't provide plot synopsis with the middle grade books, the more I think about that, the more annoyed I am. I'm like, help me find Christmas gifts. You don't have to, but I'm begging. Promoting with tropes only is, I made a post recently and asked people what does not work to market to you. I did that on YouTube in particular, and the majority of the responses I got were, I hate trope marketing, which is something I talked about months ago, and I noticed that authors were not very happy about me saying But apparently it's not just me, and I was surprised. I didn't think that people were going to answer that many times with the answer they don't like trope marketing. So apparently it's not just me. Also, there are reviewers who use tropes to talk about things, and I also don't find that very helpful unless it is one of my friends and they are telling me specifically, hey, this book has that trope that you love. So like magical animal companion. If you're my friend and you're telling me that, that is helpful to me. But like random person number 4,000 on Goodreads saying this has enemies to lovers, I don't trust it anymore. The review only being about how hot the relationship is. Where's the critical fair reviews? No book is perfect. If the romance moves fast but the plot is good, that's totally fine. I'll read it. When I see reviews that just talk about tropes, I know it's probably going to Wattpad quality. I'm not looking for a masterpiece, but something that has clearly been edited at the very least and has a clear plot. I never see reviews about that. That's fair. That would annoy me too. If a white person writes BIPOC stories and gets all the 5-star glowing reviews from the white people, I get suspicious. Also, 1-star reviews were the reason someone hated it was the conventions of the genre. Like, this tells me you don't vibe with this genre. When the reviewer bashes critical and negative reviews in general and pushes that toxic positivity about not leaving reviews unless it's positive, yeah, don't get me fucking started. Like, if you want to review that way, that's fine. You're gonna help your audience, but don't tell me what to do. Again, subjective, not prescriptive. If people only give high ratings or they never give 5 stars, also paid reviews, I'm scrolling right past. That's fair. You are not required to find those helpful, and you are well within your rights to scroll past if you don't trust it. All right, here's the ones that I got on Instagram. They didn't like a book character because they didn't see them the way the author wrote them. When the majority of their video reviews are overly emotional or extreme in reaction. Meg, are you calling me out? Just kidding. Lately, if they're too critical of small details. If the lowest you've ever given a book is 3 stars, I'm hesitant to trust your opinion. Oh, same. If you don't know how to hate something, I don't know that you can help me find something I'll love. Criticizing bad grammar in a fiction book when it's literally just stylistic choice. I'm not really sure about that one. I guess I'd have to know a specific example. I don't know. I guess it depends on which book. And again, it's like totally subjective. If that doesn't help you, it doesn't help you. That's fair. If there are exclusively good reviews and no variation except loving everything. Yup. When they support Coho or any shitty authors like Tilly Cole. When they jump on the trend of AI art, I believe in supporting the artist, not the AI. Oh yeah, if reviewers are supporting AI covers, this is me saying bluntly, like, reviewers should not be supporting AI covers. Why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Don't do that. Seeing a glowing review, reading it for myself, and not liking the book. Done. When they disparage readers, reviewers who like a book that they didn't, and vice versa. Yeah, I think I've said in the past something like, I don't know how anybody could like this. And I think that I made an active effort to not say stuff like that, even if I really do feel like I don't know what anybody would like in this. A lot of the time though, I'm just being like very, what's the term? Like hyperbolic, essentially. Like I'm over exaggerating. But I think that almost every book has an audience somewhere. And we definitely shouldn't be like shitting on other people for what they like to read. Racism, classism, and ableism. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that in reviews. I've seen so much shitty stuff in reviews. Oh my gosh, the amount of people that are just so bigoted or perpetuating like harmful shit in their reviews is shocking to me. Only posting positive reviews when they excuse problematic behavior from male main characters but not female main characters. I saw somebody on TikTok once say, I hate reverse grumpy sunshine, where the man is the sunshine and the woman is grumpy. And I'm like, you're just misogynistic. That's just you having very, very strong internalized misogyny. You don't like angry women. You only like angry men. You're just a misogynist. That's so weird. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, well, you're just a dick, so I'm definitely not going to trust your review. When they say something they really enjoyed was well written without elaborating. Oh, I think I do that all the time, so yeah, I can understand how that's annoying, even though I do it. Not an answer to the question, but I hope you feel better. Thank you. I did post about this on Instagram, didn't I? I know I posted it on the community tab, but I did have a kidney infection. I got antibiotics and I am fine now, except I seem to have something also, like some kind of heart thing going on. So I also got a referral to the cardiologist. So yay! Being a grown-up is fun. But thank you, I appreciate that. When every review is just gush, 5 stars. When they act racist or bigoted online, can't trust their reviews, aren't filled with prejudices. Denounces problematic authors but turns a blind eye when it's a book they love. Oh yeah, we've been seeing that on Book Talk a little bit recently. When they only have positive reviews. If you 1-star a book for not being clean, it's an instant no from me. That's getting its own video. That issue right there is the only reason I have not made that video yet is because talking about the topic makes me so annoyed. I can't stand the term clean romance. I think it is so grossly riddled with purity culture bullshit, and that is why typically you see it from women who say Jesus in their bio, or they're a Christian author. I'm tired. And the thing about that is that this is the exact issue. It is not personally them deciding what to read for themselves. It's descriptive. It's prescriptive. They're making it about everybody else. And a lot of them talk about how they're like, well, I'm just trying to stop everybody with their porn addiction. Stop it. Stop. That's enough now. It's getting its own video. I'm just too salty right now to talk about it. When they only have positive reviews, a full scope to if they say they refuse to do negative reviews, I know it's a personal choice, but I need a full scope to understand the reviewer and what they like and dislike. So this is a really good moment for me to say again, you do not have to do negative reviews. You don't have to do any kind of review. You can do whatever kind of review you want, but if certain people are going to see you never doing certain kind of reviews, then those certain people are not going to find you helpful, but other people will. Not me, but other people will, and that's okay. It's okay for me to not find you helpful, and it's okay for you not wanting to be positive and negative in your reviews, but it's also okay for you to say to me that it's okay that I can do negative reviews, and I will, and I do. As soon as they start recommending Christian nonfiction, oh yeah, it's always a fun time. I know it's whack, but if they gave The Book Thief 5 stars, Jill, I have been trying to read that on your request for weeks now. I hate it. I hate that book. I don't like it. I want it to be over, but it's so long and it's so tedious to listen to, and I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people love The Book Thief, but I don't. So I get it. I get that. One of the reviewers I trust the most feels the same way. That I was looking like, does anybody else feel very meh about this book? And they do, and I'm like, see, that's why I have trusted you for years. If they never post negative reviews and want their honest opinions, not fake positivity, certain sponsorships, personal views that are ick, and if they can't learn from their mistakes, that makes total sense. I understand that like some people will never come back because I accidentally worked with a company who I did not know was terrible, which was Temu, and then I was alerted to it, and then I took it down like basically immediately. But some people had commented and they're like, all right, I'm done watching your videos, and that's their right to not trust me anymore. It doesn't really matter to them if I took it down. I didn't do my due diligence, and therefore they lost trust in me. That's fair. It was too YA, they say, reviewing a YA book about teen characters for a teen audience. Yeah, that's true. This may be rather basic, but when it's clear the message was massively misunderstood. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can think of a few examples of this where I'm like, oh, you and I don't read in the same lens. Yeah, no. And you don't have to, but I don't have to listen to you either. Dismissive, out of context reviews, voluntary ignorance, selective boundaries, condescension. I'm like, I'm at peace with the fact that I'm condescending towards books, but yeah. But like, if you don't find condescending reviewers helpful, that's fair. When they only give positive reviews, when they change their rating because they met the author, don't get me started. When they don't support a boycott or supporting problematic authors, not feeling safe when they read certain authors without speaking up about issues, people who review books without reading them, preempt their star rating, either 5-star preemptively or 1-star bombing. That's really fair. That's actually why I don't 1-star bomb. First of all, because I don't think it does anything. Personally, you can do whatever you want, but I don't think it does anything, so I don't really see the point. And also because I'm very particular about like what I'm posting on Goodreads, because I am trying to help my audience who is helped by my reviews, and like me 1-star bombing isn't really doing anything to help them. When they say, I know the author is XYZ, but I don't care. If they claim reading is not political, yeah. I avoid the vocally religious ones and the ones who like bad books like Fourth Week. Again, that's totally subjective, but I understand. When they clearly don't like a book but won't say it. Oh dang, I don't think I've ever run into that, but yeah, that would annoy me. When they start reviews with multiple sentences thanking the author for an arc, yeah, that annoys me too. Changing their opinion when the public hates their opinion or it's not popular. Oh, I haven't seen that, but yeah, yikes. When they constantly show problematic books and authors, that makes sense. Marks a book as read when they skip chapters or skim through it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody doing that. Gosh, who are y'all watching? As soon as they say it's just fiction because it always is to defend some dumbass shit. It always is to defend some dumbass shit, isn't it? If they aren't consistent, maybe many reviewers have author faves and go much easier on them. Okay, so I admit that is a thing for me too. I don't know that it is possible for me at this point to objectively look at a book by Elizabeth Acevedo, who, although, is there anybody who could say, and I'm so serious, is there anybody who could say that her writing is bad? See, I don't know. I don't really know where the line is between me being subjective and objective anymore, because I do think she is like so above and beyond a typical writer. I don't know. I can understand why that'd be frustrating. As the person doing the reviewing, I can see that I probably have that going on. Book talk tropes used in place of plot summaries. Oh yeah, that doesn't really help me either. When they say they don't like a book and don't explain why, or say, here's why you shouldn't read XYZ. When their whole account is only good things about the books they've read. Excusing a problematic book as dark romance, like the romanticism of the KKK. Yeah, that was a mess, wasn't it? When they rave about bad books that are objectively bad. Wait, when they oh man, I'm sorry. The letters are starting to. When they rave about books that are objectively bad, can't trust people who don't think critically. Yeah, more for me, I wish that they would say, like, at least get very specific, because even if you really loved it, be very specific about what you love if you want to help me out, which you don't have to. That way I can be like, oh, I do get that, and that does help me. If they gave ACOTAR 5 stars, I know we will not have the same taste. I hated everything about this book, don't get me wrong, it's still great, 4.5 stars. When they say they only read clean fantasy instead of just I don't like sex scenes, thank you. Don't get me started today, I'm not ready. If they are all positive or negative or do a lot of paid promo, that's fair. Either too gushy, 5 stars for everyone, or nonstop hate without really engaging the work, that's fair. Sponsored content coming out after the fact, fair. When they say like something like books are not political or I love Resand, I hate Resand. I mean, both of those things are fair. I too hate Resand. Sponsorships and having communications with authors, fair. Bashing folks who read smut or being mean to positive reviews of books they don't enjoy. When the reviewer can't realize they aren't the intended audience for something. If they're too vague or feel hyperbolic, this was the best ever. Oh, I use hyperbole constantly. I am definitely guilty of that. I understand if it's not helpful. How diverse their reading is and what their political views are when they say they're not political. Wow, a lot of people saying that on Instagram. When they don't give any kind of trigger warning, not even this book contains triggering content. Yeah, that is unhelpful. Again, I'm guilty of that. I personally need to do better about that. When they mention a trigger and or spice when it's the author's transparent about the book's content. If they're friends with the authors, not that that's inherently bad, but it's still sus. That's fair. When they loop religion, God, Jesus into everything, fair. Review bombing, undying loyalty, and absolutely zero critical thinking skills, fair. When they respond negatively to others' good reviews. I don't know why people comment on positive reviews with negativity. I don't understand it. You know who that happens to is Meg from Meg's Tea Room, who explicitly asks people, like, if you hated this book, please don't tell me, and people still tell it to her. Like, I'm on the opposite side, where like, if I hate a book and you show up in my comments and you're like, I love this, I'm like, cool, I'm just glad you read. But on the opposite end, if I loved something and somebody comes up and they're like, I hated this, I'm like, whoa, slow down, chill out. I mean, you're welcome to like tell me why, but don't just be like, I fucking hated this book. Like, I don't even do that, and I'm a dick. I don't even do that, and I am a huge dick. If you're being worse than me, what are you doing? When they don't try to read any kind of diverse books, when they say something racist, when they talk about God or Jesus, if they don't read diverse authors or stories often or at all, them giving high ratings to books I've disliked and low ratings to books I like, nothing personal. Exactly, it really is nothing personal. If they love a book that I found to not have a single redeeming quality, oh, fair, so fair. And that's it for the comments. So as you can see, there are so many different takes, and people have a variety of ways in which they choose who to trust and who not to trust in order to decide what they buy and what they don't buy, and we need all of them. What is not helpful for me should still exist. What is not helpful for you should still exist. So even though I don't like those very vague reviews that don't help me, they should still exist. The things that should not exist are obviously like the bigoted fucking assholes who are spreading, you know, stereotypes and misinformation that harm people. But what is helpful is so entirely subjective, and we do need that huge variety so that everybody can find the right reviewer for them, so that everybody can find the right book for them. And what works to market to one group will not work to market to others. When you get your book in the hands of certain reviewers, you are helping certain people and then not helping other people. And on top of that, I really want to point out how many fucking people said, I think that the majority here of the answers, I didn't actually count, but I think looking at them, it seemed to me that the majority of people were saying that they can tell when authors are trying to get reviewers to lie for them, whether they're friends or whether they're just ARC readers. Like, we can tell, and we are not helped by that, and we are actively staying away from you. So stop trying to cultivate that. Stop trying to create a fake Goodreads score with a bunch of fake ass reviews in order to sell your book. If your book is good, it will stand on its own merits. You need to find the audience that actually likes it so that they can market further to their audience who are informed by their honest reviews. Because there's obviously so many like niche groups, and you're not going to be able to market to all of them. You need to find the right one that will jive with your book instead of lying to everybody in the hopes of getting more sales. And if you've already been doing that, like, please stop now. But I'll talk about that more in my ARC video. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments and questions down below. Leave your answer to the question, what do you find helpful or unhelpful in reviewers? Even if I'm unhelpful helpful to you, I'm okay with that. Just try not to be a huge dick about it in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye! Hi, it's me. It's the end of the video, so I have to do thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons, and those are Alexander, Brittany Bobitney, Cami, Chris, Des Roberts, DJ Rocktopus, Ellie, Emperor's New Blues, Aaron, Eric, Jack and Jill, John E, Helene K, Casey McKenzie, Kate W, Caitlin M, Quinn, Lady Kittybug, Lex, Night Owl Reader, Alice, Rain, Reese, SJ, Samar, Scarlett, Shiny, and SMK. Thank you all so much for being a friend. Oh my gosh, I missed one, and it's Peggy, who changed her name to the epic feminist side-eye of Carlos. I cannot. I can't. And last but not least, before I go to say thank you for being a friend to my Potato Search Marks' patrons. Hello, comrades, and they are AM Angel, Amanda, Andy, Angelica, Anita, Artie the Ninth, Ashley H, Ava, Ballads and Bookends, Beck, Blythe, Bookish Bats, Bookish Brain Rot, Bree, Caitlin, Cardinal Ginger, Harlan, Casper, Catherine, Kathy, Chris, CJ, Cole, Colleen, Corwin, Corey, Darren, Deborah, Dex, Diet Goth, Dorian, Dorothea, Ebby, Ember, Emerald Dodge, Emily A, Emily L, Emma, Aaron, Ezra, Hannah C, Hannah T, Harpy Kuro, Haley, Ilianaka, India Inks, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, JT, Jen Michelle, Jenny G, Jess Burler, Jessa Sue, Jillian, Jojo Bookish, Jess Pugsley, Kaylee, Kat, Catherine, Katie, Katya, Kayala, Kendra, Kylie, Laughing Cat Dog, Laura, Lazarus Ray, Library of Scars, Lisa B, LP, Lou Siri, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Madison, Marcella, Marquita, Malara, MK Books, Molly, James, Nat, Natalie, Never, Nicole G, Nicole R, Nyan Binary, Paige P, Penny Chilling, Foxglove, Pixel Stars, Rachel B, Rat Sarah, Reba, Rebecca, Rivi, Robin, Rosie, Rowan, Sokoria, Sadie, Samantha M, Sarah C, Sarah H, Sarah the Bear, Shamed, Shannon, Sheen Onion, Sean, Talia, Three Old Dogs, Tiana, Tina, Toast, Trashcan Teddy, Taito Phoenix, and Writer A. Thank you all so much for being a friend.